Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to a new video. And what I'm gonna show you today is how to create a top bar like this. And this is the U bar. So I'm gonna talk about U and Yak and what it all means. And I'm gonna show you this example of how I created it and how you can configure it to something like this. So if you're interested in that, make sure to stick around and let's dive straight into it. What is U? U is Alcowar's Wacky Widgets. It's a standalone widget system made in Rust that allows you to implement your own custom widgets in any window manager. And in this video I'm gonna be showing you how to do it in Sway, but Hyperland is also very possible to do it. And as you can see here, any window manager, probably it also works on X11, but I'm not gonna show you that. I'm gonna just focus on Wayland compatible compositors, and Sway and Hyperland are two, but in this video I will show you Sway. So let me know in the comments if you would like me to create a video on how to do this in Hyperland. Probably it will speak for itself with some tweaks, but just let me know. Alright, and the user here, darmex, that has some guides. If you're wanting to install it, probably this is a very good guide on how to work, how to get it installed. It's quite easy, to be honest, but you have some config here, and it also explains about the Yak syntax. So if you're looking into how to install it and getting started, for sure that's an interesting resource. And this one as well. Here you have the widgets, and Rust C and Cargo is basically all you need. And if you don't have Rust yet, check out Rust Up. This one is a one-liner. This just works. So if you copy and paste this command in your terminal, then Rust is settled. And Cargo as well. And here you have the packages. And for the most part, these were installed on Fedora. So I'm using the Fedora 38 Sway Spin, and I just needed to install this this one. So GTK layer shell, only on Wayland. And for the rest, I had most of the libraries already. And just follow this. So git clone, cd into there, cargo, you need to have that. And for Wayland, you select this command. Alright, and when it's done, you can go into target release. And it was for me executable already. And then you can do EWW open and then the window name. And for me it's EWW open bar. And that's enough. But there are some examples. So here you have examples. And then basically this thing you see here, that is the example that is from Druskus 20. Let me open that, and specifically it's the polybar replacement. So I chose to configure that. So here you have some other widgets, and I basically configured this one for Sway completely. And of course I'll have the link to the repository in the description down below. Here there are some other examples, so this is very interesting, right? So a dashboard here. And these are all the widgets. So this is quite an extensive. So from Aditya Shakya, he is also known for Archcraft. If you look at all the widgets here, it's quite interesting, but it will definitely take you a lot of time to have it configured like this. But of course you can look at the dot files. All right, so this is also interesting. So if you have the bar here, you see here the users clicking, and it's actually you invoke EWW again with a separate bar on each click. So I haven't extended it to, so it looks quite good, right? So I haven't, my example is quite static in that regard. But for example, if you scroll here, you see the volume change and the brightness. You can change it by scrolling. That is like the interactivity, and yeah, here if you click on these, because I'm cloning it using WL mirror, it doesn't really show that, but yeah, you can click on this this workspace and to go to there, and then you can also scroll like I just said, and then you see some interactivity going on here. But for us, it's quite static, so I haven't made that of an extensive. This is not an extensive bar, but still it's enough for you to get started. And I'm gonna show you that. So before I actually show you that, so here you see in this repository, you have examples, EWW bar, this is a directory, and you have the yuck file here. And if you look at dev window, so this is the thing that you need to call. This is the window you need to open. I was first looking into all these, okay, how to trigger it, but now bar is the same here as there, of course. But when you normally open it, the window open is dev window and then the name of the window. Just know that, and you point to the directory of that. So you can also start this example, but in this video I will show you how to configure the bar and how to place some of the widgets here, how to style it a little bit. And to style it, you need to know a little bit about CSS. This is yeah, SCSS, but it's quite straightforward, I would say. So you can use CSS to style, and in my example, I have the colors coming from Pywall, so it's in the cache wall. I reference that style sheet to here. Yeah, and then you also have some scripts here, then that you can use, of course. But yeah, that's it for now. Let's go to the actual demo. All right, so like I said, this is like the end result I have. But first, let me kill the EWW. And you can see here, there's some gap. This is on purpose, of course. That is because this is Sway. I have did some configuration. Sway config gaps. So the gaps top is here 34. This is the gap here, and the gaps inner, those are these and these, right? So I think it's nicely styled the way it is, but yeah, your bar may vary, of course. And here you see the EWW config, EWW bar, that's a variable open bar. Let's go to the top. Here I have the config. And set EWW bar to home config EWW polybar replacement. That is the config I have. So let's exit here. Let's go to the config. So config EWW and then the polybar replacement, right? So you have a couple of files in there. Let's start with the yuck file first. Let's move that a bit smaller. And let's open this in a new tab. So here we have the dev window bar. It's a monitor 0. So that's my laptop display. You can also set a bar to another monitor, of course. Horizontal expand false, virtual expand false. So if you have that at true, then vertical, then you have maybe a vertical bar, if you get what I mean. Geometry, so nothing too interesting there, but I have a Y, so that I have a little gap here at the top. Let's start. Okay. So window. Let's open bar. Yeah, here I have a little gap there. All right, so let's go to the rest. Stacking foreground, so it stays on the foreground. I don't know if it's really a big effect in that, so to prevent it overlapping, but I already have a gap there, so it's good. And then here, so these markers are for folding. I don't really use that, to be honest. But here you have the bar itself. Just the bar and space evenly false. So if you set it to true, let's say here it is also false. Let's say you set it to true. So that is the, at the end, these are the icons at the end. So let's change that. Save it. So here, this is true. So doesn't matter. Yeah, it's maybe interesting, but for the icons, I definitely want to have it set to false, right? And center as well. So I was a little bit annoyed that it's not a true center, if you get what I mean. But I didn't get it to fully be at the true center. But here maybe this makes it a little bit better. But yeah, that's minor, I would say false. Let's put it to false again. All right. So it's a little bit more grouped now. It looks better. All right, so going to the next, and then you have the def poll. So this is polling. The poll interval is at 10 seconds, for example. The time, I said it, yeah, because you don't actually show the seconds, right? Here we have the date and the date and the time, just two separates with their formats here. So let's say you will want to have a second there. Probably the format will be as write it. And here you see immediately the second is displayed, but it only updates every 10 seconds. So that doesn't make sense, of course. Yeah, so let's say you do put it on 1 second. So now every second it changes, but yeah, you could do that if you want. But yeah, I like this a little bit better. So, okay. And then here, this is the updates. It's a custom script. So it checks for updates from DNF. So 24 updates. Let me show that script. Oh, before I show that script, you can check if you have errors. Here, for example, this is this is an error in the config. I'll fix that probably. But if you have errors in the config and you don't see anything, then you can do logs. So the same EWW, same config, and then logs is, then it attaches to the current running instance of EWW. And it shows the logs then. That's a little side step. So let's go into the config, EWW, polybar replacement, modules, and then I was showing the update. So DNF update, DNF. This is a very simple script. So DNF check update, and then grab update, and then echo the amount. So 24. Yeah, as you can see, it's quite simple, straightforward. It just shows the amount of updates. And there's also, there was updates. I think it's Arch. So this is Arch based. The example was Arch based. And yeah, this will give the updates for Arch. But I adjusted it to Fedora, of course. Okay, that's good. Go back to this one. So updates is there. Interesting, right? Ping. This is this one. So it will show the ping of, I think, a DNS server from Google. All right. And then notifications. I don't really use that, I think. Speaker. This one. So it's actually the module volume control. Here it is. So scrolling works. If you scroll over it, as you can see, it's a little bit slow in updating. But this is actually the volume control. So let me show that script if you want to see it. It's interesting. Volume control. This is one script I got somewhere. I'm not entirely sure what the source is, but uses a mixer and then get master, and get the volume is this command, and it has some icons as well, and then also you can set it to up, so increasing the volume, down, decreasing, and mute is a toggle. So I think if you click it, it goes to mute. If you click it again, it toggles the mute, so it will go back to the original volume. And this is just the icons, depending on the amount of volume. So yeah, that's interesting as well. And I have something similar for the brightness. That's here. Let me show it real quick. Yeah, that uses the brightness CTL. G is for get, and M is for getting the max. And I actually needed to calculate a little bit. So this is my script. So these references are, I think, old from the original one. This is something I did myself. And just AWK, and then it just shows the brightness here, because I think it was the max brightness. Max brightness. Brightness control M. Open up a new one. So if you CTL M, so it's 16961. That's the max. So this needed to be standardized to percentage, and that's what this formula is all about. So spend some time creating it. Just feel free to use it, and maybe you need to adjust it a little bit if you don't use brightness CTL. But that's it. Let me close it again. Go to here again. All right, this is the box. Let me see, icon module. I think it's a generic one. And here's the spaces, the workspaces. That's also a custom script, so it's in config EWW. And this is one that I got from a user. Let me pull up the repository. I think. Let me see. I also created a pull request for the user. Closed. Yeah, from Dan. He was a little bit surprised that someone was using the programs he created, but yeah. I was struggling with getting the workspaces on Sway, to be honest. So all the examples that I found weren't really giving the right thing. And then I found this repository from Dan indeed. And here some examples and just giving the workspaces. And this binary works on Sway as well, and that is I think it's in the main. No, Sway maybe. Yeah, Sway. Yeah, here we have the workspaces. So this is a executable written in Go that queries the workspaces, and let me show you the output. So it's also in config. And then it's a workspace. What was it again? EWW workspace. This one. So here you see the output is a JSON, and active is 1, and I have a separate. This is the capture card. But if you go to 3 and then back, you see that it updated some stuff here. So that's a daemon program, and then it runs in the background, of course. And then you can query it like you see here. This is also a piece of custom code where I have the this is if it's active, the entry, so it queries it active true, it will make it a bigger square, and if not, it's a smaller square, and that's also what you see here. So I click this, and this is my capture card, so you don't really see the change. But normally it works when they're not capturing the screen. So yeah, just if you try it out, it will work. But you do need to have this executable for this to work fully. So yeah, of course I have the link to the repository in the description down below. It's quite straightforward, but you need to be able to, yeah, compile the Go executable here. Quite easy. Yeah, let me know if you require some additional help in that regard. It's a little bit out of scope of this video. Yeah, and then some widgets, RAM, notification, date, time, etc., etc. These are all here, right? And then you have, like, if you have this example here, so icon is disk icon here, and it's the same as you can see here, right? And then the label is a text and run something, and EWW disk, that's actually an included variable. Already there. So let's look at the documentation again. EWW magic variables. So EWW disk. Yeah, it's here. So here you can just use it, right? You can just use it. So battery, CPU, all this stuff here, you can use that. So that's pretty cool, right? So some straight out of the box, some variables, and you can see here these are used as well. All right, updates, I talked about that already, ping, etc. Network as well, so this may be a little bit clunky because the network card is in here, so the real one, so my IP add. So just grab the network card that I wanted, the WL1, of course, not this one, this one. So this one I put in there, yeah, but anyway, just if you, and that's showing this one, the stats. Just know if it doesn't work, do the IP add, copy the right network card address in there and replace it. All right, so the speakers, I talked about that. One thing that I want to highlight, so the scroll event, so event box on scroll is EWW update and then the script. So that enables you to scroll over these. Yeah, it's a little bit stupid if you click, should have clicked on it, but yeah, the function keys also work, of course. But that's the Sway configuration I have. So so my laptop function keys, let's go to the Sway config again. Volume, yeah, here you go. So these are the function keys. Raise, lower, mute, already in there. Right, so, okay. And that is about it. So the brightness, the last one, I talked about that already. So that is it for the YAC file. So it's quite a long walkthrough, but this definitely will yeah, give you some insight, I think. So let's look at the CSS. Like I said, nothing too special. Similar to the example I already showed, but I have here my, yeah, this is an absolute path. Sorry about that. Just know that you need to update your username here. So home e Graaf is my user. You can also make it a relative path, but yeah, just know that you need to change it, because I cannot predict where you put the files, right? So this is in .config/polybar example, of course. So then you need to go 3 levels higher and then go to .casual. So, but there's no variable for home in a CSS syntax, as far as I'm aware, at least. So let me know in the comments if you disagree with that, or maybe you have a better way to solve it. Feel free to reach out in any case. So here you have the variables. So these are used as calls. And this is, of course, updated by a Pywall. Yeah, it's a Pywall script I showed a couple of times already in my videos. And this is as calls. So all the reference will be foreground is calls dot foreground. Right, so then you tie the foreground from this file to this foreground variable, and then you can use it. Straightforward. I didn't use everything, but yeah, enough to show you at least. For example, this color cyan, that is this, but actually that's not cyan. So it's a color from the wallpaper, of course. Yeah, oops. Wallpaper here in the background that you see. Right, but I think you already saw it. Okay, put it in there. Okay, that's it. So that's for styling. And then the modules, I talked about that already. So you can just start with this EWW bar, use my example, and just get started with it. So let's say you are new, right? Let me quit this. Let's kill all EWW again. Oops. Kill all EWW. Now everything is gone. Let's go here. So I have a couple of these examples already here copied. This polybar replacement, I use that. Let's say EWW. This is quite straightforward one. And if you have that configured, you can just do EWW. But this needs to be on your path, right? But you already know that. So ls, let's do which EWW. It's in user local bin. I copied it in there, so I compiled it based on the guide that I showed you, and then I copied the EWW in here, and now I can just use it. So config, so EWW, same directory. That's this one. So you don't have to specify the YAC file. It automatically checks in the directory, tries to open the YAC file. Oh, of course. Open, I think it's also bar. Yeah. So this is kind of like the thing that I saw when I opened it the first time. So don't be alarmed. It's all based on your configuration, of course. But if you look at some sentiments about EWW, that it's quite a steep learning curve. That is true, but yeah, I like that in general. So I love that it's a steep learning curve, but maybe that's a little bit how my brain works. I like that challenge. But just know if you start it and then you do the logs and then you see indeed, okay, what is wrong? And then you can start fixing it. And you will see here the config file, YAC line 42, there you see what is wrong. And then you will just dive into the config file, right, and start solving in 42, enter, and in the battery, and you see this is the command, ACPI, and that doesn't work. So then you say, okay, do I actually need the module, or do I want to make I forgot what it was, ACPI, I think. Yeah. ACPI, do I need to install it, etc, etc, etc. So for this video specifically, my example that I showed you, Sway is the, I tuned it for Sway, let's put it like that. So that is just about it. So my idea is that, EWW is quite cool, very interesting. If you want to start, read through this getting started guide. Tells you a lot already. Don't be alarmed if it doesn't work. Look for examples and have fun with it. And so one thing, of course, the CSS is a big benefit. So if you style it, if you're a little bit used to web development, then definitely you can use CSS. You are able to use CSS to style the widgets, etc. And I will also play around more with it, and maybe we'll create a follow-up video. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like me to show you a Hyperland example. And that's it for this video. See you. Bye bye.